What is the most disturbing fact about the human body?
Once your immune system finds out you have eyes, you're blind.
Your eyes are more brain than body. In that your meninges, which is a layer that encases your brain and central nervous system, follows the optic nerve and becomes the sclera, the layer that encases your eyes.
https://www.smithsonianmag.com/smart-news/mini-brains-grown-stem-cells-developed-eyes-can-sense-light-180978478.
I read an article a while ago about a guy who had gotten Ebola and recovered. But then his eyes changed color and nobody knew why until they found out his eyes were full of the Ebola virus, and his immune system wouldn't go after it because of what you just said. I know this sounds like a made-up story, so here, https://emerymetacin-mag.emory.edu/archive/issues/2015/fall/features/hiding-in-dash-plain-sight/index.html. Google will also find you many articles about this.
I hate that as soon as I read this, I tried to convince my brain to believe I don't have eyes.
Your body makes approximately 500 milliliters of spit every day.
Your immune system peaks at 14. After that, your thymus slowly starts decaying/atrophying. It's the organ responsible for T cells. So after 14 you slowly stop producing immune cells that quickly clear an infection.
MAGNIFICENT.
Your life flashing before your eyes before dying is actually your brain scrambling through your memories trying to figure out how to save your dumbass.
Everything I've read here is the worst thing I've ever had to know. You all suck.
If you concentrate on your brain itching enough.
You are made of stardust. The stars died for you. Take that, Jesus.
Your intestines can be dumped back into your body in any configuration, and they'll automatically sort themselves out. They know what orientation they are supposed to be in.
Adriamycin is a chemo drug that is so powerful that the 4 has to be established for at least 5 minutes to make sure there is no leakage, and the push must take no less than 5 minutes. A leak requires immediate surgical intervention. But it works so well it's still used.
The fact that so much of the health of the body is at the mercy of the mind. The body works amazingly hard to stay alive, and yet we fight against it by consuming toxins and processed foods.
Your teeth aren't actually bones and, very basically, are formed from the same fetal tissue that becomes your skin.
As someone who has had the privilege to work with cadavers, I will say that your sciatic nerve is about the diameter of a hose in some individuals. The brain is a lot smaller than you would think. The spinal cord is about as thick as a pencil. If there is an ischemic stroke going on in certain arteries of the brain, it has backflow arteries to connect and bypass the clogged artery. If you suffer brain death, the reason your heart is still beating is because the function is coming from the brainstem. If you lose partial vision due to a lesion along the optic pathway, the brain will compensate and try to trick you into thinking you don't have partial vision loss.
Cancer cells are a normal non-normal occurrence within the body. Your body has a system that allows it to cause a cell to kill itself. Cancer somehow inhibits that and other secondary preventative measures in order to establish itself. Then it grows rapidly and releases signals to make your body create tubes to supply it with blood and therefore nutrients. Mind you, all of this doesn't happen if the suicide button works. Cancer is the multimutation of cells. Also, age is one of the biggest, uncontrollable, factors of cancer. If you have an eye problem that your immune system discovers and then identifies your eye as a foreign object, you will lose vision in that eye and the other eye will follow shortly after. Stress is slowly killing you through the fight or flight response that you can't necessarily turn off. There are ways to mitigate it though. Your body can randomly go haywire and make you allergic to something. Bonus, allergy means your cells are attacked. Intolerance means your body doesn't recognize something as having value or worth decomposing for nutrients. Oxygen is slowly killing you. The things you eat, drink and breathe are slowly killing you. Most of the problems you develop, health-wise, that you are now starting to take note of likely had already started developing years before you even were aware of them. Get the sleep you need. Exercise. Socialize. Avoid harmful habits. Eat healthy foods. Give yourself the best shot at a healthy, happy life.
Bones are always wet.
You can in fact fit a whole bag of jelly beans up a grown man's butt.
It's the bacteria in your gut that are craving the food you want to eat. They just tell your brain you want it.
The body contains as many bacteria cells as human cells. Take that, germaphobes.
You, as in your consciousness, personality, history and existence, is just a brain floating in fluid, trusting electrical signals from your nervous system. For all you may actually know, you are just a brain in a jar that's fabricating your reality in order to cope with a lack of input from outside stimulus.
You aren't you. All you are is your nervous system, mostly the part going down your spine, your eyes and your brain. The rest is just extra parts in a machine.
Teeth are the only bones you clean.
Teeth are considered part of the skeletal system, but they are not bones. Not so much disturbing, but the fact that your nose is always in your line of sight, and your brain just pretty much ignores it.
Your brain does a surprising amount of image processing before you even perceive it. Apart from removing your nose, it also flips the image due to the lenses in your eyes flipping the light, it removes the blur when moving your eyes, and it even removes some colors. Our eyes can see more colors than we perceive, but our brain doesn't allow us to perceive them. However, there is a way to trick your brain into temporarily deactivating that filter. By staring at a specific color for enough time, you will be able to see one of those forbidden colors.
Demodex or eyelash mites, just about every adult human alive has a population living on them.
In hair school I was told that after you die, morticians, or some other career to do with the dead, can tell when someone's a hairstylist because they will have lots of small hairs behind their eyes.
Carrying your own species to term is dangerous and can make you lose your teeth, sugar regulation, bowel control, strength, and/or snap pelvic bones if you don't just bleed out from infection.
It tends to die.
The sounds you make after you pass to the afterlife can be haunting.
The sounds you make before are probably more chilling. Look up death rattle in dying people.
I've dealt with lots of dying and newly deceased folk and know what you're talking about. It can all be fairly haunting, lol. The gurgling/moans and body twitching is what took me a minute to get used to.
The entertainment center is right next to the toilet.
For men, the entertainment center is half of the toilet.
We don't actually know what happens with the heart and the brain. A lot of medication are just wild guesses, and we just hope they work. This is especially true with antidepressants.
Antidepressants affect the serotonergic and noradrenergic circuits in the brain. These two are widespread regulatory systems that modulate the amount of activity in all the other brain circuits, dopaminergic, histaminergic, etc., etc., etc. Depressions happen when they can no longer do that job, because, for some reason, the presynaptic cells don't emit enough signal substance into the synaptic cleft to maintain a proper probability of signal transference to the postsynaptic cells. Antidepressants, except mirtazapine and the MAO inhibitors, restore function by lowering the effectiveness of the reuptake pumps that clean the synapse from the signal substance and take it back to vesicles on the presynaptic cell. This results in a higher concentration of signal substance and a higher probability of signal transmission. It's fashionable these days to bash antidepressants and psychiatry, pushed by a movement consisting of cults like Scientology and swaths of talk therapists who would much prefer giving talk therapy to psychiatric patients a few times a week for 20 years at $200 or more per session.
This is bogus. The fields of neuroscience and cardiology have an immense amount of knowledge. They might not know everything yet. But acting like doctors don't actually know how things work and just give you random things that seem to work is total bullshit.
Our immune system doesn't recognize our eyes. If it did, we would go blind cause it would see it as a threat.
No pun intended.
You can live up to 30 seconds after being decapitated.
Your own immune system doesn't know your eyes exist. If it did, it would start destroying like any other infection/foreign body.